I cancelled my kid's first birthday party and I feel so relieved. Mini rant, not nearly as serious as some of the things I see posted on here, but I want to get it out of my head and into the void that is the internet. Some pieces of backstory that are relevant. Due to some issue with funding and how research awards don't count as income, I did not qualify for paid maternity leave from the government. Because of this, I defended my PhD, had a baby and started my postdoc all within a month of each other. The spouse had just started a new job, so he also elected to not take parental leave to be able to get his sign-on/stock bonuses quicker. My mom is providing us with free childcare because of this. All this is to say that we are extremely tired. I have tons of food allergies. Like, the list of food I can have is significantly shorter than the list of food I can't. The list of stuff I can't have pretty much includes every fruit and vegetable and herb and spice, along with some other stuff like added flavors/extracts unless it has been completely obliterated by cooking, e.g., sticking it in the Instant Pot for 5 to 6 hours until it is completely mush. I carry an AP pen just in case, but so far all my reactions can be managed with antihistamines. I still feel sick, extremely tired, muscle aches, etc., for a couple of days even if the antihistamines help with the itching if I eat something I'm allergic to. Mill is extremely picky about how events should go and what food is served. The first few times I ate with them she got really offended when I asked if I could bring my own food, so I just spent Easter eating chocolates because everything else I was allergic to. Had a few nibbles to not make them angry, but overall, not a good time. When we go out to eat at a restaurant with them, they usually like to go to a buffet type thing, which technically has food I can have, but it's one of those serve yourself places, so it's a cross-contamination nightmare. She's starting to say that I can bring my own food after I just stopped showing up to a few of these things, but she is not happy about it. She's also upset if I just go and nibble at sides because she feels like a bad host, but it is what it is. For the last family event, we went to her house and we tried to ask her about the ingredients in one of the dishes she was making, and she said that she's not a restaurant and that if we want to make requests about the food we can host. Fair enough. She legitimately doesn't remember what's in some of her spice mixes, so it's not like she's withholding information on purpose. To the actual story. Baby's birthday was last week, and the original plan was to have a smash cake for the baby on his actual birthday, and then go out for a sushi on the weekend after with our families, because I can have fish and rice and teriyaki meat. And it's one of those very westernized sushi places where there's chicken nuggets and deep fried Mars bars and cream cheese rolls on the menu. Spouse and I would be paying for everyone. Cue complaints from the ILS as soon as we announced the plans. We don't like fish. Can we eat somewhere more accessible? I don't want to go to a restaurant and just eat sides. My wife is trying to get pregnant and can't eat raw fish. Why can't we just go to Mandarin? There's sushi there too. Can you just go to sushi by yourself, and we come over afterwards and play with the baby then? We are tired, so we said that they can't impose a second party on us just because they don't like the one we planned. Spouse's siblings kind of get it after spouse explained to them that I have to go to all their events and just nibble at sides, and it's not the end of the world if they have to eat food that they don't like, given that they aren't paying for it. Mill continued to complain though and kept on saying that she wanted to skip sushi and come over afterwards or we can all go to Mandarin, cross-contamination hell, so we got tired of dealing with it and cancelled the whole thing, and then Mill is blowing up our phones with stuff like why don't I just host the party and cook and you guys can come over. We are both too tired and behind on projects at work to deal with me being sick from dealing with allergens in Mill's cooking, so we declined to do anything and slept in on the weekend instead. Mill is so upset now because she barely gets to see the baby that she stopped liking the Instagram photos we post of baby to keep everyone updated and refusing to talk to us about anything else lol. Anyways, baby doesn't care. He got his smash cake, which he ignored mostly in favor of trying to eat rocks he found. He got to go to the park and play with the neighbor's bubble machine and got a bunch of new toys, so he's happy. Comment. Time for a letter. Something from your husband along the lines of, I just need to clear the air one final time. My wife's food allergies are not an imaginary illness created in my mind to make your life more difficult. She hates making a big deal out of this, but this is a medical issue, not some garden variety pickiness. We grin and bear it when you guys host and aren't able to tell me what's in a dish she picks at sides and make the best of it, brings her own food or gets something on the way home. We shouldn't and don't complain. But when I ask for one meal somewhere that she likes, my treat, the mother of my child, for my child's first birthday, You can't even pull it together for one meal for her. From now on, we will avoid events where there is food present unless the hosts can treat my wife with basic respect and not side-eye her for bringing her own food, which costs you zero in effort and dollar, or take very basic steps to help make her feel welcome and not like a burden. The lack of compassion and understanding you seem to have for my wife has been one of the bigger disappointments in my life and needs to change. When you've had time to think about the changes you'd be willing to make in your attitude and treatment of her, reach out. Until then, we'll be taking some time to enjoy our family unit alone. I can't have soy. The bug problem food is mayo. My meal only had to be told twice years ago and checks with me about if I can eat what she's making. If I can't eat it, she is willing to plan something else, but I am fine just eating what I can usually. I just like to know what to not eat. My meal's biggest problem with me is I don't like it when they do family birthday parties for me. I have too much trauma around my birthday and it makes me anxious and uncomfortable. They insisted on doing it one year and it was nice, but I quietly and politely explained that I appreciated it, the thought, the effort, and the love she put in, but I do not enjoy these celebrations. They stress me out and force me to remember all the birthdays my sister or I got beat up on each other's b-days or our own. I only enjoy celebrating quietly at home with my husband, or if she was free I would also celebrate with my sister who understands and shares my trauma. She was nice about it and offered every year to celebrate, but accepted that I just didn't want to. She is the only one aside from my husband who remembered my birthday last year. Sounds like a big win for you, DH and Lo. Let Mill throw her pity party. I mean, do you really care if she's commenting on your SM post? She's waiting for you and DH to call, apologize, and invite them over. I'd let her stew for a long time. Show her you are tired of her bullying and not caring about your health, thinking you should always be the one to compromise and eat where it's not really safe for you. Your Mill should feel like a bad host. She is a bad host. If she's inviting you to her home or a restaurant but not making an effort to ensure there's food you can eat available, that's bad hosting. She's disrespectful and you should stop engaging with her. Expecting you to go hungry or endure allergic reactions isn't normal civilized behavior. I'm a picky eater due to IBS and allergies, so I get where you're coming from. My allergies is nowhere near as bad as yours before someone tries to kill via Reddit. Some family members didn't get it as they never saw the pain or the times out of hours DRS were called out and having to be given Oromorph after having to prove that no, I'm not pregnant, so no, it's not an ectopic. It wasn't until they saw a recording my mum had done without me realizing at the time that they accepted that foods were triggers, as they'd only seen the instant reactions, not the delayed ones. As they used to hate it if I asked places we'd gone to for ingredients, etc. Heck, an ex didn't believe it until him and his mum saw it, as there was an ingredient change in a previously safe food whilst on holiday. Ask Mill if her issue is the fact it's not instantaneous in most cases with you regarding food allergies. Although I couldn't live without potatoes as that's my main go-to, family will check if a place does mashed potatoes before suggesting a place, as they know I'll be as happy as Larry with a bowl of mashed potatoes whilst they eat what they want. Next story 2. Mill freaked out that we eloped without her consent. I almost lost my fiancé to a medical emergency, and since then he was begging me to go get married. When he was well enough we both went and eloped. He didn't want to tell his mom because she had been fighting with the entire family for the past 7 months, and so we decided not to tell anyone because of this. Somehow she found out and flipped her, was in our house with my mom and stepmom and started yelling at them, calling me a liar, just losing it. Me and my now husband went downstairs and tried to calm her down. I can't believe what this woman was mad about. Mad that she didn't get to pick out my ring, mad that she didn't condone our marriage, mad that we didn't invite her to the wedding. Apparently she doesn't know what elope means, had all these weird notions about what our marriage and life should have looked like. She said a lot more nasty things about me, but my mom and stepmom are protecting me and just saying it's over with. I don't have the words for how miserable this woman has made our lives this last year, and her 2 brain cells must not be firing because she knows that we're in bankruptcy right now and he just became disabled. In what world would we frivolously spend $30,000 on a wedding? So and I couldn't be happier together, even though our new version of life isn't what we wanted it to look like at all. Can't wait for the day where we don't need help for his care and we get to chill. Comment. Sounds like it's a good thing that y'all eloped, because can you imagine planning a wedding with somebody like this sticking her or in all the time? However, I want to point out something you did wrong. This. Try to calm her down. If she flips out at you again, let her rant and rave and scream and holler. She's either doing it on purpose, which is a tantrum and should not be humored, or she can't deal with her own emotions, in which case it ain't your, plural, job to do it for her. In fact, a silent, unimpressed stare can, in some cases, short-circuit the rage explosion. At the very least, it saves energy that you have so many more important uses for. RN. I'm sorry you have to deal with this, she sounds exhausting. Unless there is something that requires you to keep in contact, I suggest blocking both Mill and Sil. Regarding your husband's care, I suggest checking with every nursing school in your area, and up to an hour away, to see if you can post on their job boards or email the head of the department asking them to send a mass email stating your need for help. I had a friend in nursing school that worked as a home health aide for a company but eventually just got her own clients so she could set her schedule and take her kid with her instead of paying for after-school care. Also, try local community colleges for students that are doing pre-nursing courses who would appreciate a flexible schedule, like they could come over for a couple of hours between classes. Or students in kinesiology classes that would come help with PT and helping hubby to relearn taking care of himself. Congrats on the marriage and be nicer to yourself. Congrats on the nuptials. It's the best being married to your best friend. I'm also disabled and my hubs has been my full-time caretaker for over a decade now. Although I'm just now 40, our county's Agency on Aging has helped us with resources, including getting me into a state program that pays him to do what he was already doing, or I could have chosen for sitters to come in to do the same thing if I'd wanted. I even get Meals on Wheels, which helps tremendously in this economy. We eloped because my Mill and Sil kept trying to make our wedding about them. We were in Vegas for hub's work and said EFF it, let's do it our way. We FaceTimed my family and they all figured we were going to end up eloping. We did not plan it till the day before and we did not tell anyone. Mill thought it was an elaborate prank and kept saying we went through a lot to stand outside of a chapel and have fake paperwork and all. Sil and Mill did not believe it until we posted it on Facebook the next day. Also, best decision ever because my parents still gave us what they were going to for the wedding and we used that money as a down payment on a house. Sounds like my in-laws. We're doing a courthouse wedding and they tried telling us they wouldn't recognize our marriage if they weren't there. I told FH then they wouldn't recognize any products of our marriage. It was quickly dropped. The ages kind of led me to infer that she's one of those moms who have this idea that as a young mom, they're growing up together with their kid, and they're just the closest people ever, which is not expected to change because they're basically in the same phases of life. Except they're not, they're just closer in age than expected, and she probably had the me and my baby vs the world mentality, so she's entitled to be involved in every facet of his life, and boundaries aren't for her. It kind of sounds like if boy mom was young mom, if that makes sense. Except probably both for you. My mom was a young mom with my oldest brother, and she's always been very similar. She's just mad that her vision of his life isn't panning out. It's all about including her and her being ready for things, and her expectations being met rather than him being happy with his choices. That's fine. You still got married, she can be annoyed all she wants, but she can't make you undo it, so she can support her adult child, or she can watch their relationship dwindle. No one wants to be around people who make everything in others' lives about how it bothers them.